And we are live. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are doing great this Tuesday morning. Welcome to another edition of Bunker Live, a weekly live show brought to you by the team at Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping the military connected community start their own business. 25% of transitioning service members want to start a business, and they need places inside their community where they can connect with the people, resources, and support they need. I'm your host today, Iron Mike Stadman, joined by one of my colleagues, Carrie Sue, and we have the privilege of having a very special guest today, Miss Erin. Did I pronounce it right?
Mose, but it works. I respond to it all.
Erin Mose from Intuit. Before we get into what Erin's going to talk about today, Carrie is going to go ahead and talk about some of the exciting events happening around the bunker in the coming weeks.
Awesome. Thank you. We've got 2 in-person events coming up. One is this Thursday, May 27th. So if you were in Knoxville, Tennessee, there will be a family-friendly event that does include axe throwing. So take that with a grain of salt. But there is no alcohol. So at least you're not throwing axes with the alcohol. But it will be a family event and networking involved. So that'll be really awesome. We'll drop that link to RSVP in the chat pretty soon. And then if you were in Bozeman, we have a really special event, June 3rd at 5 p.m. There is a woman who owns a company called Svatlin, and they raise and train world-class family protection dogs. She will also have puppies and adolescent dogs there for those that participate to interact with. And she'll do a short presentation followed by a networking event afterwards. So those are coming up. Stay tuned for the month of June. We have several in-person events happening in a variety of cities for our VAR companies that are coming in and leaving the program. So we'll keep you up to date on those.
Awesome. Thanks, Carrie. Mm-hmm. And I encourage everybody in the community, just get out there and take advantage of these events. At the end of the day, you don't have to go at it alone. And you'll meet great people and you get some great programming. So, take advantage of this stuff, right? It's volunteer, right? Nobody's forcing you to do it. But as you start to want to grow your businesses and connect with other veteran entrepreneurs and military spouses, and even civilians with the resources and support, it's great to do it, connecting with them at some of these events. So that's why we put them on. And we highly encourage you all to take advantage of those. And I'm really excited today for our guest, again, Erin Mose. She's the innovation catalyst and head of programming and corporate responsibility at Intuit. And Erin's here today to talk to us about an exciting program we're going to be offering for those of you out there around design thinking. So, Erin, welcome to the bunker.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. This is my first live stream show, so I feel very fancy.
Yeah, we're LinkedIn famous right now, streaming this live show, using it as a way to connect with the community. So Tell us what we got going on with design thinking and what kind of support you're bringing to the bunker.
Yeah, no, super excited. It's really interesting. A lot of folks will hear the term design thinking and not think that it applies to them or their business, but really it applies to everything. So design thinking is a process for design that has a human-centered core. It really encourages individuals and even the organizations that they work for to focus on the people that they're creating for, which really leads to better products and services and internal processes. So when you sit down to create a solution, you're really asking first, what is the human need behind it? And at Intuit, we have a process. Our design thinking process is called Design for Delight. And that's how we innovate at Intuit. And our most successful teams utilize D for D, we call it Design for Delight, in our teamwork, constantly trying to figure out ways where we could reach our customers and delight them even more. And a few years ago, we actually trained all 9,000 of our employees on the methodology so that they could utilize it. And it's really shown so much growth within the business. Smaller teams start utilizing it as well. So as a small business, spending a little bit of time extra upfront can save you time and money in the long run and really help you deliver something that customers actually want. And the principles are actually things that you can use every single day as new situations arise. As a business owner, being able to pivot is super key. And so just think of design thinking as the vehicle that allows you to navigate those bumps.
So I had an opportunity to do a program at Stanford Ignite. I think it was back in 2017. And I actually got experience. I think it's called the D Lab at Stanford.
Absolutely.
So I was in there, took like a couple classes. And so I'm a little familiar with it. But again, one of the things I would love you to talk about is, and we were talking about this in the pre-show of, as entrepreneurs, right? We're balancing so many different things, right? People got to manage payroll, they got to set vision for the company, manage employees, right? So can you really talk about, the real value prop for taking advantage of design thinking, and particularly let's talk about the what we're going to be offering here at the Bunker.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, as I mentioned, think about design thinking as the thing that allows you to problem solve all across the board. As you were mentioning, issues with payrolls or setting your vision or motivating your employees, how you think about any sort of process or problem is utilizing these principles and using them so that you can ensure that what you are doing, you're not wasting your time. As a business owner, your time is valuable and you want to focus on what's actually going to move the needle to bring revenue, to make your employees happy, to open up your customer base to ones that you didn't even think of. It's really about using your listening and processing skills and taking in what you're seeing and pivoting and changing. So there's, again, a wide variety. If I could use a couple of examples for this time, especially in COVID, I can't think of a time that more requires a design thinking mindset, because curveballs have been thrown at businesses left and right over the past year and a half. And those businesses that are able to see the problem that's ahead of them, whether it is, I have to close down, I have to lay off my staff, you are navigating those waters and pivoting and moving your business so that you can still deliver and be successful. So it is a matter, it's a methodology where there's a process loop where you're testing, you're throwing something at the board, you're seeing if it sticks, you're analyzing the situation and the feedback, taking from it, learning from it. No, just, you can't be set in your ways too much. Of course, you want to with your ideas and your thoughts, but you definitely have to be very responsive and reactive to those around you. And it really, really helps you, especially in this climate.
Yeah, one of the things I remember from the D Lab was prototyping. And whether you have a product or an app or, a service base, for us, one of the things we did was we made like an app, and it was just like the very basic version of it. And we had like, I don't know, action figures and all this kind of stuff that we could piece together, toothpicks and everything. And the idea behind it was, how would somebody use this thing? Right. And you just make like the most very basic version of it. And I think it also applies, like to say, to services of like, how can you get that MVP out there? Because you talk about human center. A lot of times us as entrepreneurs, we have these great ideas in our head, but they're absent of the feedback that you're talking about it. And you won't understand until somebody actually uses it, whether they pick up your product and they hold it in their hand and then, they do something completely different with it. And so I am a big proponent of that human centered.
Yes, absolutely. Within Intuit, we have something called Follow Me Homes, where every employee in a normal world, and we've even been doing in virtual world as well, but we would actually follow home customers, and we would just ask them to go through processes where we would observe them and not provide any feedback. You can ask why questions, but not really insert yourself into the situation, because you're really trying to observe the process and the thinking. Just as you said, you want to see what somebody will really do in the moment. and design for that and deliver around that, because a lot of people, surveys can be wonderful, but a lot of people don't know what they do or want. They just do it. And so really getting in there, if you have, a service-based business, like approaching your business from a customer standpoint, and following a customer, going through the process, and not really just asking them, how was your day? How was your experience? But really following along and seeing their facial expressions, or seeing moments when they looked kind of confused and didn't know if they should go left or go right. These are the things that you can pick up on. So it's really about honing those observation skills and kind of, again, as you're saying, testing, getting that feedback, seeing what works best.
Yeah, I have a boxing gym in Newark, New Jersey, right? And so we made it all pretty. We put the graffiti on the wall, right? And then we put these, what are they called? Medicine balls. The medicine balls people throw at the wall?
Oh, yeah.
And I had a whole section dedicated to where I thought the kids were going to work out, but they went somewhere else and just made it the medicine ball section, right? Yep. They just looked in their head, and it's like this really nice mural, and they just start tossing that medicine ball. And that hit me in a sense of like, you can create these spaces, right? You create these products, but how they use it is going to be completely different. And you just have to sit back and observe.
Yeah, it reminds me of there is some city planning and park theology where they will put the park out, but they won't do pathways until maybe a good 3 months after people have utilized the path. So they've worn down the grass where they've walked. So then city planners know where to actually put cement. And that's what you want to do. You want to see what's happening and then find those moments of delight. Like, how can you make what they're already going to do just a little bit better, a little bit easier, a little bit more intuitive? Not to use Intuit, but yes.
I love it. So one of our viewers, Chuck T, wants to know what differentiates design thinking from game. I think he means game theory.
Oh, that's a really great question. I am not super familiar with game theory, so I don't know if you are, Mike. But again, there are a lot of different like design for delight is our methodology. As you mentioned, going to the Stanford campus, IDEO is like the pioneers in this. There's quite a few folks that kind of take a version of this methodology and utilize it. So if it's similar, it could be very similar and just, created or utilized by a different group.
Got it.
Sorry, I'm not more familiar.
No, it's fine. And for those that are tuning in, please keep the questions coming while I ask Erin this next question, which is, talk to us about the content that Intuit's going to be providing for Bunker around design thinking.
Yeah, we're super excited. So we, in corporate responsibility, we have an education arm where we help to teach students on design thinking principles. And we are up-leveling that. And Bunker is actually the first business group that we are actually providing these same sets of trainings and skills to that we do to our own employees. And so it's going to be launching in June. I think it's next week. I can get more specific on the dates, but there's going to be 2 to 3 hours of content around design thinking that you can take on your own time. Again, we know your time is super valuable, and the free hour you might have might be at midnight, which is great. And you can jump on Launch Lab online and, join in on those 4 micro modules, which are about 30 to 45 minutes in length each. And so it's primarily video content, but there is some real world examples which kind of help you process the different pieces. It's activity based, so you will be able to utilize the design thinking loop on a specific problem of your own, which is really great, which allows you to really flex that muscle and see how it works for you. And then we have some additional resources, our design thinking toolkit that includes method cards or templates. I like to think, so again, as I mentioned, we have a strong education arm. You as a business owner, if you have employees, educate your employees on this framework, because you want them to have a mindset of problem solving. You want them to have a mindset of observing your customers like they are the business owner. Isn't that the gold stars? We all want our employees to run the business, think of the business, treat our customers like they are us. And using these principles really helps to get them in that mindset.
Awesome. Now, I know, like you said, we're kind of the first organization rolling out with this, but have you heard of any other small businesses or startups that have really succeeded using design thinking principles? I know you mentioned IDEO, who helped Apple come up with the mouse,
Yes.
you know, the infamous mouse. But if you could think of any other examples, I think that'd be great.
I mean, there are a million examples of design thinking, and even not in like the traditional sense that we all think. But, you know, from a larger corporate perspective, you know, there's wonderful stories of like Nordstrom's. They had they were trying to develop a shoe purchasing app, and they did exactly what you were talking about, Mike, where they went to a store with employees with paper where they were drawing out what an app could look like. And they were going around to customers and getting real-time feedback. And by the end of the day, they actually had the model of what that app should be based on customer feedback, which is key. For, let's see, Bank of America, they were trying to encourage savings of their customers. And, you know, after doing research in the field and really like understanding, customers loved the idea of saving more than actually the amount that they were saving. So that's how they developed that kind of top off, or like, you know, round up towards the dollar and put that into savings, which is just building that customer loyalty. If a customer sees that you're solving for their need, which it could be a benefit to you, but it actually feels like you're just trying to solve my problems, that's forever customer loyalty. So that just, I think it grew them about 10 million new customers just based on that savings habit alone. And then one of the last ones that I like, the creator of the oh gosh, the scanning machine where you lay in it and you go, and I'm losing my words this morning, but he not only designed that based on following patients and understanding what needed to be done from a doctor and patient perspective, but realized that children were actually very terrified of going in to be scanned because it was a closed-in space. And so after observing and testing a little bit, created almost like an adventure process where they put decals all over the machine, or a pathway to the machine. It was like a rocket ship in certain situations. So again, you know, it's the same thing that you're delivering, but you're delivering it in a delightful way that your customer will forever remember and be changed by and moved by, and be, you know, this is where word of mouth starts, where folks start talking about you and what you do and how you made them feel, which is different than just what you give them and they purchase. And, you know, having that emotional human connection is what makes businesses last, you know, 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, we got comments coming in. People say they love those examples. And one last question too is, somebody wants to know, can a nonprofit use design thinking principles?
Absolutely. We actually at Intuit a few years back, we partner with TechSoup. And if you're not familiar with TechSoup as a nonprofit, you absolutely should be. They are a nonprofit themselves, global nonprofit that supports nonprofits. So they partner with companies like Intuit. We actually donate QuickBooks through them, so nonprofits can get it at it's almost a free price, but there's some admin fees from the TechSoup side. But you can get Microsoft, you can get like Adobe, you can get a whole bunch of different things. So know them. But we worked with them at our campus in the Bay Area to bring in local nonprofits to teach them this methodology. And then we went through real problems that they were running up against, whether it could be from, you know, we need more volunteers. We're having a problem tracking our donors, or keeping donors. So it's a process through which you can take any issue that you're trying to solve or work on and throw it in. Again, think of it as that vehicle you use no matter what obstacle you're up against.
Thank you for that. And on behalf of the Bunker, we're super excited to be able to roll this program out. And for our listeners and viewers tuning in, like Aaron mentioned, another one of Intuit's products is QuickBooks. And I'm happy to announce that Bunker Lab community members are going to get a QuickBooks discount for 30 days free, a 30-day free trial, and 50% off for 12 months. And my colleague Carrie is going to go ahead and post the link to that in the chat. And this is through Intuit's military and veteran initiative, because they are committed to helping transform the lives of military families and the veterans through community, jobs, and financial empowerment. And Aaron, thank you so much for making that available to the Bunker Labs community. I use QuickBooks. I'm a big fan. I love it. And it's just a great platform to get out there and get in the fight with.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I've so enjoyed being here and love the Bunker community. You guys rock. So happy to be partnering with you all.
Awesome. And now, Aaron, I got to ask you as a guest, what is your favorite book?
Oh my gosh. That is really good. That's a really good question. There's this one book that always sticks out to me. And it's called The Billionaire's Vinegar, and it's all about wine fraud, which is fascinating because it's a really small industry that a lot of people think they know a lot about, but there are some scam artists who take time and energy to really make some bottles look like they have a certain vintage. There's one, they tried to pass off some ones that were Thomas Jefferson bottles of wine. It's a fascinating story, but it's all true. And I like some of those interesting ones.
And what's the name of that book again?
It's called The Billionaire's Vinegar.
The Billionaire's Vinegar.
Yeah.
If you could post the link to that in the chat, Carrie, that'd be great. Because one of the things we do on this show, every episode, we do a book recommendation.
Yeah.
And so The Billionaire's Vinegar. And my book recommendation this week is Organize Tomorrow Today. And here's why I'm a big fan of this book is it's hard being an entrepreneur, and it's hard running a for-profit and a nonprofit and prioritizing. And in any given day, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Aaron, you've got 10,000 different little things, little taskers, right? You got the day-to-day, you got the big vision, like partnerships like this, but then you have all these little meetings and little taskers. And what's nice about this book is it teaches this principle of basically you basically create a list of 3 things you want to get accomplished and your 1 must, right? And that's what you set for each day. And every morning you plan it out, right? And one of the things they want you to do is don't wait till the end of the day to organize tomorrow. Do it the day before and do it early, like around, lunch or early afternoon or something. And it's really just about prioritizing, focusing on what's important and executing the big task, So a big plug for this book. I know productivity, y'all probably read Atomic Habits and all these different books. Listen, highly recommend this one. I'm going through it now. I'm not done with it yet. I'm about halfway through, but I had got it on Audible. And then I was like, you know what? This is one of those books I need to read. Like, I need to feel it in my hands so I can go back and reference it. So it's Organize Tomorrow Today, 8 Ways to Retrain Your Mind to Optimize Performance at Work and Life by Dr. Jason Selleck and Tom Bartow. And I'd like to acknowledge, as we wrap up this edition of Bunker Live, I have to acknowledge our sponsors. In addition to Intuit, the MetLife Foundation and the Gannett Foundation. The MetLife Foundation is committed to supporting veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. In addition, they also provide mentorship and financial health resources to veterans and military spouses transitioning into the workforce. A Community Thrives, a program funded by the Gannett Foundation and part of the USA Today Network, invest in community building initiatives across the country with the goal of creating a positive change through service to historically marginalized or under-resourced groups. And for everyone tuning in, if you have not downloaded the Transition Podcast, you are missing out. We're collecting great stories from those of you around the Bunker Labs community. This is the premier peer-to-peer learning platform, okay? When you listen to these stories on the transition, The goal is for you not to go out there and make the same mistakes. People are getting vulnerable. They're taking off their armor. They're telling you what it's like. This isn't about looking cool on Instagram and looking on LinkedIn, looking like people got it figured out all the time. No, this is real story by real entrepreneurs within the Bunker Lab ecosystem who are in the fight. So I highly, highly, highly encourage all of you to go out there and download the Transition Podcast. I'm on a personal mission of impacting 10,000 veteran entrepreneurs and military spouses through the podcast, and I can't do that alone. So I need you to get out there and share that with others in the community. If you want to get plugged into the Bunker Labs community, make sure y'all visit our website, bunkerlabs.org, select the city nearest to you, sign up for our local newsletter, and attend one of our networking events. Things are starting to open up, so we're going to be doing some in-person in addition to our virtual events and take advantage from that. From there, be sure to get connected at Bunker Online, where you can learn about our many different programs to support your entrepreneurial journey. We got programs that'll take you from idea to invoice, incubate you, and position you to grow alongside other founders and CEOs. Register today by clicking connect at bunkerlabs.org. And again, I got to give a special thanks to our wonderful guest, Aaron, and all the amazing programs that they're offering for us with Intuit. Make sure you take advantage of the QuickBooks offer. I think we have one question. Somebody wants to know, what about those of us with existing QuickBooks memberships? Does that discount apply or is it too late for those?
That is a great question. I'm going to check on that and I'm going to get back so that we can update. I know the information is on Bunker's site and I know that it's in the newsletter, but I'll make sure that we have that specific. I think it might only be for new subscribers, but I want to make sure I have the answer for you.
Thank you for that. And take advantage of design thinking, y'all. When we roll out this course, don't miss out. Do those customer discoveries. We're going to learn how to make those MVPs. And I'm excited to check out this design thinking course. So thanks again, Aaron. And to everyone else, have a great, wonderful week. Stay in the fight, protect your energy, and we'll see you next week on Bunker Live.